Hello, everyone. Glad to see you back at Silver Tears Tarot, and of course, a warm welcome to anyone who's joining us for the first time. Today, we're looking into the situation with your person, but we're doing another check in directly on them, where we're going to focus on what they're thinking, what they're feeling about the situation. Um, we just had a couple of soulmate readings that were a little bit more general. So it seems like maybe it's time to look back into your person and the energies that are impacting them specifically. So if you haven't seen those recent soulmate readings, look in the playlist, the Soulmate series. You may want to take a look back at a few of those. So, of course, these are general readings, may not resonate with everybody, but of course, you have better odds since it's a pick a pile, so it allows you to pick the best reading for you. And it lets you watch more than one possibility too. Sometimes you'll find that the two different answers that you're attracted to maybe are two answers along the same timeline, because a lot of us are on similar paths but different timelines. If you enjoy the videos, be sure to like and share and subscribe so you'll be able to stick with me. And again, if you get one that really resonates, it may be that you just belong here. So maybe check out some of the recent messages, see if there's more for you to discover. So it's time for you to pick out your pile. They're all hearts today. You can choose pile 1 with the red jasper, pile 2 with the rose quartz, and pile 3 with the clear quartz. So as I like to say, don't overthink it. Just go ahead and breathe. Let yourself drift toward one of the piles. Watch more than one if you need to watch more than one. Pause if you have to. So if you chose pile 1, it'll be right up. For piles 2 or 3, you can get the linked timestamps down below. So go ahead and pick your pile and let's get started. Okay, so starting with pile 1, we're going to take a look at pile 1. So that is where we have the red jasper, little heart. And I'm going to be reading for you with the Tarot of the Spirit, and then I will clarify with the Revelations Tarot here in a minute. So we're going to be looking at what is happening with your person, and let's just kind of see what wants to come out for you. So we'll start by looking at the current energy, but it's the current energy that's flowing between the two of you. So you guys, by now, I like to start with the current energy a lot of times, and it's really helpful to just kind of get grounded and understand kind of what's happening with the big picture. So it's kind of the what's happening in the big picture kind of card, and what we have here is the Emperor, and it's in reverse. It's an unbalanced Emperor. That's the way that it feels. And it feels like there is an attempt to grasp at control for something where that control is a little bit hard to come by. So we'll take a look when we get in there to clarify it. But really, that's kind of where it's starting. So somebody's feeling like they'd like to control something, but there's not really an opportunity to do so. And that's the current energy that's between you. So we're going to look more in just their specific current energies. And this is very much just related to your person. So this is around kind of it's not really how they feel about the relationship, because we'll look into that a little bit more deeply a little bit later, but it's kind of just what's happening in the energy between you. So there's that bit of a struggle for control. So let's see the current energies that are happening with them. Okay, we have the One of Water, and this is a very promising card. So this is it refers to it here as the open channel, but this water energy, it's like the Ace of Cups. And so it is the flow of emotion. So something is happening that's allowing your person to for their emotion to flow, and it feels new. So not necessarily that the situation is new, but the fact that they're able to allow the emotion to flow feels a little bit new. That's the part that feels especially promising. And like I said, we'll get a little bit more clarification here in a minute to understand what's going on. But first, let's find out how they feel about you. So this is how they're feeling about you now. So there's been some healing here, and I just like to take that top card. So if you're new to my channel, I have rules about that, and every reader does, but the way that I pick up my cards, and one of them is if I have several turnover, I will often just take the top card that comes out. So anyway, the Six of Wind, it's like that Six of Swords in the traditional deck, and it's this feeling of things are calming down a little bit. So this is the way they feel about you. Things are calming down a little bit. There was a tumultuous, uncomfortable energy that was happening before, and it seems like they've kind of come out of that a little bit. There's been some healing involved, so that's something else to think about there. So if there's been a little bit of time here. Um, and now I do want to ask how they're feeling about the relationship, because remember, this was maybe kind of framing that a little bit, but this is that how are they feeling about the relationship itself? Ooh, the lovers. Okay, so it is. It is a pretty fabulous card, but there's also a choice to be made here. The Lover's card often has a strong element of choice, and this time is no exception. So, the way they feel about this relationship has to do with they know that they could stay there forever, but there's a choice for them to make. They either have to turn something off in their life or change something in their life, or they have to change something about the way they think, though. It's not a simple choice where they just get to say, oh, A or B. It's a I'm going to make an entire movement in this direction kind of choice. And so it's a very consuming one. And that's kind of how they're feeling about the relationship itself. The next thing I want to look into here for you is the hidden energies around it. So it's not those things that you can't see or that are being kept from you necessarily. It's things that you aren't able to see from your perspective. If you had a different perspective, we almost had something. If you had a different perspective, you might be able to see some of this. Um, so it's there, but it's just not in your line of sight. There we go. Let's see. So we've got the Hermit in reverse that has come out. And so to explain what's happening there, this is your person has some really promising energy that's going on here. So they've got this new ability to, it's like an ability to open and be open to giving and receiving love. That's why this feels so exciting. That this is like a new capability. I feel like it's associated with you in that maybe you taught them or you awakened this within them, but they still have some things to learn. So they're feeling pretty great about things because they're coming through the tumultuous time and feeling like things are a little bit better. No, they got a choice to make. No, they don't exactly have the control over it that they want. But part of that is around this Hermit card that's in the reverse. So again, that's that hidden energy that you wouldn't be able to see from where you're standing. And really what this is a person who has gone into that hermit thinking cave, and when they came out, they didn't have all the answers they were looking for. So they clearly have some. Some of those answers have started to come out, but there's still some pretty important things missing from the picture. So I'm going to jump in and clarify with the Revelations Tarot here in a minute. But beforehand, I want to understand the direction that the energy is going. And so I like to define this question as this is the energy to which your free will be added, or in your person, or in this case, it's going to be your person's free will. It's kind of where they headed next. But I mean, you can't really define or determine a person's free will, but you can say, all right, but here's the environment in which it's happening. And the environment is the Six of Water. It's like the Six of Cups in the traditional tarot. And this is really just thinking nostalgically about the past. So there's going to be a lot of nostalgia toward the past. Your person, through the process of this healing, but not complete healing, is realizing some things. They're realizing, yes, there is this choice here that needs to be made. I do sure wish I could control it. It doesn't seem like I really can. There are definitely some things that could be better that they're trying to make better. This is wisdom that your person is actively seeking, but maybe they just haven't found yet. But it's causing them to think about you an awful lot. And so, as they've now kind of discovered this ability to allow emotion to flow, and things have also calmed down a little bit for them, this starts to come into view. So it isn't that they haven't been thinking about you, but in some cases they kind of haven't been wanting to because they've been trying to control the situation. That's another thing that kind of comes through. So let's um, let's get in here and clarify a little bit. So again, this is going to be the Revelations Tarot. If you've been around here, you've probably seen this deck. If you've gotten a personal reading from me, I pull this deck out a lot. We're going to start with the Emperor in the reverse here. It's just a really versatile deck. Easy to easy to come up with answers, and the imagery is just fascinating. Little something I picked up in a local shop around here that I guess you can probably get it online, but it's I've never looked. Okay, so we have one card that has come out here, and this is the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this is about a truth that is not being exposed, a truth that is not coming out, and it has you guys working to kind of control the situation. So there are truths that are being kept to yourselves. And I think it's both of you, honestly. I think that there are both of you kind of holding on to things close to the vest and wanting to keep it to yourself out of a sense of needing to protect yourself, I guess. It's a defense mechanism. It's not really much more than that. There's also, though, that pull towards one another. And so out of all that, I only wanted this card. So if you hang around, you'll notice that sometimes I'm going to pick up more than one card. But this one was just the one. So when we look at it, the Emperor card is telling us, remember, that there's this sort of control, this desire for control. It would make me feel a lot more comfortable if I could be in control. And it's both of you may be feeling this way. But then there is also some sort of truth that is kind of being kept away. So both of you may be holding things back a little bit that might change perceptions of the situation. And you're both being really strong about it. So strength, I usually say it doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it's usually some sort of response to a fear. So in this case, we know that there is a definite fear that kind of shows up here around this relationship. But there's a lot of strength. You guys are both showing a lot of strength as far as how you're moving forward, how you're presenting yourselves, that sort of thing. Um, and again, that's your current energy. So there's a little bit of a sense of an impasse, but it's also not great communication, if any communication at all. In fact, with that sword pointed down, with that Ace of Swords, I am inclined to think there is little to no communication, or if it is, it's not super useful. So let's take a look at this One of Water, and that's like I said, that's that Ace of Cups kind of feeling. It's the new flow of emotion. So something has been unlocked for this person, and it's like they've hit rock bottom to get there. We have the Six of Wands. I want this one, and I had a couple fall on the floor face down. So just to make sure we don't lose them, I've got them. Your person had to fail, or in their eyes fail. They didn't fail in the eyes of the world necessarily, but there was something very personal that happened with them that caused them to feel like there was a failure. They threw them off balance, and we see that here. And they haven't truly established that balance, but in the process of sort of working through all this, something in them has been unlocked. And so now there's this new vulnerability and allowance of the flow of emotion in both directions. It really does feel like it's the flow of love in and out of their heart. So that's a huge breakthrough. I don't know that they're using it for much. That's the only thing that I would say. Things are a little bit calm. I think they like it that way. But it's not necessarily that things are calm all across their lives. This is their opinion around you. So this is not necessarily going to say that everything else in their life is really calm. Let's take a look at this, how they're feeling about you. So that was that Six of Wind. It's like the Six of Swords. Here we've got one. The Nine of Pentacles, and not these. The Nine of Pentacles, wow. They really hold you in high regard. A lot of respect. A lot of, I wish I could be like that kind of energy coming from them. And it's part of what created that tumultuous energy that they were in. When we see that they've moved over into this calmer energy. The fact that they had that sense of you, that feeling that you were, this is the 9 of Pentacles, that is really somebody who has it together, and that's their opinion of you. But they also feel like they can't be in a steady or long-term relationship with you for some other reason. So there is something, and we saw this earlier, but something that creates a little bit of a barrier. So there's a choice they have to make. It's either about their thoughts, about their lives. This could be somebody who's actually not left another relationship and is trying to reconcile how they feel about things. Doesn't have to be. It could absolutely be somebody who's simply not ready to make the plunge and be able to commit. It's a difficult decision that they're wanting to make about you. And we see that down here. But we also see that the way they feel about you really kind of it gives them pause. It makes them stop and think, I can't just treat this any old way. I have to have, some consideration before I move forward in these things. So let's clarify this Lover's card. Remember, this is how they feel about the relationship. There's a choice here. There's also a really strong bond, and I feel it's like a deep spiritual bond. A lot of fear. There is something here about that fear and the fact that this is the one we want, and the fact that they are reacting the way that they're reacting right now has a lot to do with them kind of not knowing what to do with the options that are presented to them. So they have a variety of options here, certainly more than one. And it's like they're just sort of locking up out of this sense of confusion and not moving in any direction. And so this, of course, impacts you because you're one of the directions that they could go. And the thing is, I don't want that to sound like you're being considered just an option, because I think you're the reason that these options are actually being evaluated. So if it wasn't for the fact that they had met you and had this experience with you and had their heart opened, this is a result of that as well. That's kind of happening now. Even though things have kind of calmed down a little bit, this is a person who is not done, and I guess that's that's what we're going to clarify next. But yeah, there's definitely some confusion about, well, how do I move forward? And as a result of that confusion, there's a lack of movement. So it's just sort of drawing out, though. That's the thing. As the movement continues not to happen, there is some danger in the momentum being lost and them having to do a lot more to strike that momentum again in the future. So we know they're still working on things. They've actually made some really beautiful progress up here, but it is very much, this is that current experience that they're having, though. So it's not necessarily going to be a situation where they've gotten to the other side, they've had some time to think about it. And with some of the kind of complex archetypal things that are going on here with the way that they see you and how together you are and how they don't deserve it and things like that. I mean, just it's like they feel like I couldn't be with a person like that. They wouldn't have me. I don't know exactly if that's exactly what they're thinking, but that's really what I'm getting from this over here. So let's take a look at this Hermit card. And remember, this is that hidden energy. This is what you can't see. So they've gone into that hermit thinking cave and they've come back with some definite answers that they're still in the process of working through. We see that up here. They've come back with some additional questions, which we see over here. They have not resolved everything, and they're kind of, yeah, see, lack of resolution. The Hanged Man in the reverse says exactly that. It's that I haven't resolved things just yet. So there is definitely an awareness on their end that they've not resolved some things. And for you, maybe you don't have such a good vantage point to it. So that's what this reading is for, right? So, okay, let's see. And we also have the High Priestess. So that reiterates that they're aware of it, really. So what this is telling me is that they have a good connection with themselves right now to be kind of aware of what they're thinking. They're able to take that internal temperature and understand. And it's interesting. I just said that in a personal reading with somebody the other day, and it maybe is the first time that I've said it, but it felt like it was exactly the right situation for that. And I feel that again here. Here's a person that is aware of what they're lacking, aware of where they're maybe not done, coming all the way into that calmer space or reconciling all of this ability to give and receive love, freely, because ultimately you want to be able to give and receive love freely enough, like you're breathing. So it remains relatively equal. You would never breathe in and just hold it that way. It's uncomfortable and generally doesn't work very well. Same for breathing out and leaving it that way. And so with love, it's really kind of, you've got to have that back and forth, that steady back and forth. So now let's take a look at this Six of Water. And so that's like that Six of Cups energy, and that's where their energy is heading, um, to feel what their free will is going to have to react to, essentially. So the first thing we see here is the Queen of Cups in the reverse, and the other thing that comes out is the Four of Cups in the upright. Okay, so if we look at this is kind of this moment of reckoning for this person, but it is really not going to be a simple thing or an easy thing for them. There's a lot of disappointment. So they're doing a lot of nostalgia, thinking back how things were with you and how they're putting together some of the pieces. So as they're still searching for some of these answers, that awareness allows them to see things a little bit more clearly. It's really this desire for control that kind of stops things from proceeding more quickly. But things can only proceed so quickly, otherwise they hurt too much or they're just too difficult. We've got that here. So this person, when they come together with you, they are triggered in such a way that they have a tendency to almost unleash these codependent sort of behaviors. And so as they're thinking back, like that's starting to come up for them and they're very disappointed. So we've got that sense of disappointment over here. And they're thinking about, my gosh, what can I actually do next? Where can I actually go from here? Because this person is so much in the throes of moving through some of this difficulty and now being presented with this difficult question. They're clenching up a little bit, trying to control things a little bit here, but more power to them. Still kind of looking for that wisdom that they know they're lacking. But it's a difficult time that they're coming up upon. So I guess it still makes it kind of challenging to know exactly what to do about it, how much control you want to try and exert, how much information you think you're actually missing, and how you want to actually weigh your options. Because like I said, I feel like this is the reason that your person is needing to weigh their options, because of this experience they're having with you. So we're going to go ahead and go into the extended. I would say once again, if this one has resonated with you, this is there. This is rife with some of the patterns we've been seeing. So please do subscribe, like the video, share if you feel inclined to do so, and then maybe come on over to the extended with me. You can scroll down to get the links for the extended. It takes you to my Vimeo page, and you can go from there. But I think what we're going to look into when we go there is kind of let's develop this out a little bit more, because this is the energy that your person is moving into. And let's just understand kind of what is happening here, because your better understanding of it may help you know better how to handle it, what to say, that sort of thing. I want to dig a little bit more deeply into how your person is feeling about you as well. And then, of course, we'll do the bridge question. I've gotten a little bit of feedback on that, and had a couple people say, no matter what, that's always the question I want at the end of the extended reading. So I think I'm probably going to leave that in. But I think we're going to go ahead and go off to that now. Thank you so much for being here with me for pile one, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Here we are with the reading for pile two. So if you picked pile two, that's the one with the rose quartz heart. I'm going to read for you with the Star Tarot today, and then I'm going to clarify with the Marchetti Tarot. So we'll go ahead and get started right away. Looking for the current energy between you and your person. And so remember, we are looking to see, this is kind of that energetic update on your person. But first we want to get that current energy that's flowing between the two of you. So if you're in communication, or if you're not, it really doesn't matter, because the energy will still be flowing between the two of you, from the energetic perspective, even if not in the physical realm. So here we have the Death card. Okay, so the Death card, many of you who are familiar with tarot will understand the Death card doesn't mean death specifically. It is about change, transformation, something that has to end in order for something new to grow in its place. So we'll learn a little bit more about this one when we clarify, but that's kind of the energy that's going on between the two of you right now. So that's really kind of a powerful it's major arcana and it's a powerful energy for you. So let's focus on them now and look at the energies that are happening with them. So, current energies that are happening for your person. And so, this is very much in their personal development, their personal life. It's not really relevant to other people so much. It's not going to necessarily reflect that energy that's happening between the two of you, but it certainly can. So we've got that 9 of wands. Well, that energy is kind of it's a difficult one. So there's a person that's kind of been standing guarding a wall between two worlds, and they are very tired. This is a person who it's like a battle that they've decided not to walk away from. And it's interesting because it really does look like a fence between two worlds or a wall between two worlds that this person is guarding. But there's just this sense of being tired and wishing that you could not have to be at battle anymore. So there's the sense that's happening with your person. They would like to rest. They would like to maybe set things down, but they haven't done it. They have not. They have not made that decision. They're still in that guarded sort of mode. So let's take a look then and see how your person is feeling about you. And it's really it was just one card. Yeah, so if you have watched me before, if it's just one card, I'll flip it over and take it a lot of times. Where if I have a bunch of them come over, I usually just take the top one. So the 7 of Swords in reverse, that is how they are feeling about you. This is a sense of they have a lot of trust for you. So the 7 of Swords in the upright is a card of deceit. It's a card of not telling the whole story. That's not the impression this person has of you. They have an impression of you that you are more on the ethical side, more on the honest side, that you have presented yourself as you actually were and as you actually felt. So that's something that they feel about you. And it's something that impresses them about you. It's something that they don't necessarily feel like they have the strength to do themselves. So the next thing I want to look at here is how they feel about the relationship. And it's kind of this is always an interesting one because how they feel about you and how they feel about the relationship may be two very different things. And here's a perfect example. So we've got the Wheel of Fortune. They personally feel about you that, there's a lot of trust there. They may not show that. I don't necessarily get the sense that they're, especially with kind of what I'm feeling over here with the change and the fact that they've been very guarded. I don't necessarily know that they show the trust that they have for you, but it's there. For the relationship, though, it feels like it's really moved them forward in their own development quite a lot, and they recognize that about the relationship. So that'll be an interesting one to clarify because they recognize your relationship as having helped them grow, possibly as contributing to this change that energy that's happening between the two of you right now. So let's look at the hidden energies next. The hidden energies here are going to be those things that you can't necessarily see from where you're standing. So it may not be something that is actively being hidden from you. And we're just going to take the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups in the reverse, that hidden energy is, the Knight is a card of action. It's a card of doing something, and cups are emotional. So this is an emotional action, but it's not being allowed to happen. It's like if you have a situation where you're not in communication with your person, it's communication that they would like to make. But it's really that, action, the loving action that they would like to take probably comes in the form of a communication. But just in general, they're feeling like they can't do it right now. So I'm super curious to clarify because there is a definite change occurring between the two of you, and this relationship has been all about change to your person. But there's this feeling like something is still guarded and turned off to where they feel like they can't jump in and talk to you or talk to you in what is really a meaningful way. But they also, it's like they have this incredible amount of trust for you. So before I go in to clarify, I want to take a look to see what's coming for you. And when I do that, so it's really what's coming for your person. And when I think about this, it's what is that energy to which you're going to be adding your free will? Because your person's free will is going to be your person's free will, but this is going to be the circumstances in which that free will would be operating. It's kind of where is the energy pointed? Because you can't tell. You can tell a possibility of what could happen, but it's more useful to ask, what am I going to have to work with? So this is what you've got to work with. Your person is going to be operating in a sense of really wanting to be in a partnership and having a partnership frame of mind, particularly about this relationship. But we'll have to see when we clarify as far as what that means. So we know there's a lot of trust there. But what else? What else would it mean? So we're going to take a look now, and I'm going to clarify with the Marchetti Tarot. We'll start here with the Death card. And remember, that was the card in the current energy for the two of you, between the two of you. So we know that we've got something that's changing right now. There is a choice that feels like it's not really a choice, has to do with love. But this concept of I have, something in between me and where I'd like to go. I can't even clear the space to make this choice for myself right now. Is part of what's pervasive in this energy, and yet there's this sense of change. So I wonder if there's something about that blockage or that inability to move forward that is creating the issue. And so that's the only card I'm going to take. Well, let's take a look here. So sometimes when a couple of them pop up like that, I'll feel inclined to take more than one, but this was not one of those times. So we've got change happening and transformation happening between the two of you. And there is something happening here with regard to this choice that can't be made because of all the movement that's happening right now. There's also this sense of them maybe deciding, I think this may be more you, because as I'm feeling it, I just realize this is there's this feeling that has been coming out as I've been doing readings here. One of the patterns that I've noticed is that we have kind of this runner chaser dynamic. It's fairly traditional in its divine masculine being the runner, divine feminine being the chaser, and who knows the actual genders of the people involved, because you could find yourself on either side. Both of those energies reside in you. But what we've noticed here that's kind of unique around the folks in this collective, and there's readings as they come out, is the chaser isn't doing a lot of chasing. So we have a situation here where maybe a chaser has determined, I don't believe this is where I'm going to invest my time. I haven't been chasing. I'm not about to start now. But there's a difference. There's a change in this energy. And I feel like this Lover's card in reverse is more on your person's side. And that is around, I've got this choice that I can't make. I don't have the latitude to make this choice. But there is something about both of your perspectives that is changing right now. And so maybe it's you going to, I don't intend to invest in this, or perhaps it's coming out of that, but because this is something that we could see adjust over time, but the change is what's really important here. So let's take a look at this Nine of Wands. And remember, this is the current energies that are happening with them. So it's like, it wears me out just looking at it, this card, because it's like, it really has this energy of, I'm tired of it. I can't, oh, it's a giving up sort of feeling. Sometimes the Nine of Wands has that giving up sort of feeling to it. This one had a little bit of that, like it wanted to lay things down and just give up. But with this Three of Wands in the reverse here, clarifying it, that kind of supports that feeling that I am no longer, it's like they're losing hope in what could or couldn't happen. And they have some important things that they need to go learn. In fact, I get the sense that they're kind of learning them now. It's one of the reasons they haven't already walked away from this battle. This Hermit card suggests that they've gone off into their thinking cave to do some thinking, but apparently they didn't cut everything off before they did. So there's this feeling of still being very connected to you and a lot of energy moving back and forth, but not doing anyone a lot of good. So both of you may be getting a little bit tired out kind of from this. But definitely, like I said, this is your person's energy there may be other factors in their life that are also contributing to this, but they've gone off in their thinking cave to understand what they can do, what they can do about this. Then we have the Three of Wands, like I said, in reverse. That's that sense of sort of wanting to give up, and I'm not even going to try and entertain this anymore. It's something that I don't believe in. I'm losing faith. There's definitely this sense of losing faith. So let's take a look at this Seven of Swords now and understand this is how they feel about you. There's this deep sense of trust here, and yet it feels like there's still a wall. And this wall, I can feel it from this Lover's card over here with the, well, I don't have a choice anyway, but it's a little bit of an angsty sort of wall. That's an interesting thing. It's like that passion that they feel toward you, but that they can't spend on you is finding another outlet. So it's about feeling like they have a missed opportunity with you, and time is just going by and they don't have the opportunities that they'd like to have with you. That is kind of one of the things that I'm feeling. It's a sense, it's a morose sense of having missed out, and almost this feeling like that they can't fix it. They aren't going to be able to fix it. There was this sense of things being too good to be true, and I'm just kind of interpreting it as the cards come out. So we've got the Sun in reverse, which is telling you the part about that feeling of having missed the opportunity, and that just morose sense of, I don't know what I could possibly do now. Enough time has passed that I really just am not sure how I'm going to handle this. Then you have this Ten of Cups in reverse, which is like this disillusionment, and it's the sense of, it's the feeling behind this wanting to give up. So they trust you, but they don't feel like they can be with you because there's this choice that kind of stays in between, that's been in the way. So maybe there's something changing with that right now, and we'll have to see, because in this coming energy of the partnership and the Two of Cups, that's actually just incredibly promising. But we've got this Ten of Cups, which shows there is something that they deemed as too good to be true before. And they have decided that it is too good to be true, and they couldn't possibly have what they want to have with you. So there is this definite sense of disillusionment, disappointment, strong trust for you. The feeling that I get is that this is all from them. They don't, it's not that you told them, I never want to speak to you again. Although over here, I do see you saying, hey, I'm not going to be putting in a bunch of effort if there's not really anything coming out. And that's part of maybe the change that I'm seeing here for you. But there is just a lot of very positive feeling that they have for you here, but that they don't feel like they truly have an outlet for, I guess. And there's something about this feeling like they don't have a choice that figures into it pretty strongly as well. So let's take a look at this Wheel of Fortune, and this is how they feel about the relationship. Remember, so this was that big sense of change that they feel that has come from this relationship. And so I'm interested to see what's going to come out from this, because knowing that something has changed you doesn't really say what your opinion is about those changes. I mean, we can see that they're tired in their current energy. They've definitely got some learning they want to go back out and do. There's definitely, they're trying to give up. There's this feeling that they're trying to pull themselves away and give up as like a defense mechanism, but it's not really working. That's the thing that I'm seeing. It's not really working because the changes that have happened in this relationship are causing them to not be able to turn a blind eye. And so now we have a situation where they put their foot down about something, and they have essentially won a battle. Not this battle, different one. So they have essentially won a battle, but it's been at a very high cost. So unfortunately, it's like maybe they didn't think this through, or if they did, they just decided they would sacrifice something, because this battle feels to me a little bit like it is very much against their forward progress. So they've got this movement that's happening with this relationship, and this tendency to want to be moving forward with you. And then here they lash out at it and do something to damage it. But there's so much learning. There's so much learning here that just can't be ignored. One of the biggest impressions they have about this relationship is that of learning. But they also realize, hey, I really messed up. And that's part of the reason that they feel like this is just a missed opportunity. And despite their trust for you and that this is a really warm sort of feeling that they have toward you, they just don't feel like it's going to be possible because they feel like there's too much standing in the way here. Or at least that's how they have been feeling. So it feels like that might be changing right now, but maybe they haven't reconciled those changes with what's really possible. Looking into this Knight of Cups now, and that's that current energy that has them having trouble moving forward in your directions. We have the King of Cups. Well, one of the reasons they're having trouble moving forward in your direction is because they would really like to maintain the image of a person who is emotionally stable. And so then we also have the Page of Wands. Oh, but they're torn. So the Page of Wands is not what you would call interested in remaining or appearing emotionally stable. The Page of Wands is a little bit more of a free spirit, very curious page. It's youthful energy that is almost like minor arcana fool energy. It's ready to jump out and do something different, ready to jump off a cliff, ready to do something different. And yet they've got this other side of them. And it's almost like we're representing the two sides of this choice here that they feel like they don't really have, but it's really like two halves of the same lifestyle or two ways that they approach their lifestyle. So they've got this desire to jump out and do something new. They've got this desire to also look really stable, emotionally stable, mentally stable. I can't do anything too crazy. It's resulting in a bit of a stalemate. And so that's kind of what we're seeing here in that hidden energy. So, of course, it would be hidden. But that is essentially what's creating some of that silence or that distance that you're feeling there with them. But when we look off into that energy that everything seems to be pointing toward, this is going to be the energy into which your person gets to put their free will. So this is the Two of Cups. Oop. And let's go ahead and get the clarifiers for the Two of Cups, because this one is maybe one of the ones that I was especially interested in understanding, because this one, okay, so the first thing that comes out is the Six of Swords in the reverse. So things are still pretty tumultuous for your person. The Six of Swords is in the upright, it's a sense of somebody coming out of a tumultuous time. You'll often hear it described as coming into calmer waters. When it's in the reverse like that, that hasn't happened yet. So you've got this, I really want to partner up. I really want to pair up and be part of this partnership, but by the same token, I haven't done this healing. All of this time has been spent in resistance. There's tons of resistance. There's lashing out. There's this conflict that we feel here. I feel like there's a wall. There's definitely something that has caused your person to expend an awful lot of energy on trying to forget, trying to make you forget, trying to run away, etc. And there's just yet another wall I see here as they're working through it. So they're going to be, and I'm going to use the word confronted. Your person is going to be confronted with this energy of wanting to partner and wanting to move forward as a partnership. But it's interesting because they're their own worst enemies. So they are creating a wall between themselves and making that so that they can't get past the the obstacles they're putting there. And so it's kind of making this situation here even more difficult for them. So in their current energy, they're feeling like, man, I really wish I could just kind of give up. This is very challenging. I'm going off into my thinking cave, hoping that I'm going to find some wisdom that's going to help me here. Honestly, also hoping that they're going to be able to forget. But they've got such a warm feeling about you. And this is almost this feeling of regret, this feeling of the missed opportunity here and well, I just decided I'm going to determine that this was too good to be true and that this is not something that could have been the way that I was hoping for it to be anyway. But there's something about that doesn't really ring true, and they feel that over here. It's the reason that they made the big lashing out sort of action, whether that was a silent lash out where they suddenly started stonewalling and just kind of, person could have ghosted, I mean, that's part of what I mean as far as lashing out, because I can't handle all these changes. I've got an awful lot to learn. They are learning an awful lot. Um, But it's a lot of change, and it's what it's being is too much for them to kind of acknowledge and take in and assimilate all at the same time, especially when they've got this conflict going on here between I need to look really stable and be a certain way, and I need to go and live my life a little bit. But also with this change here, I see it really kind of throwing things, turning them on their head a little bit. And looking here, it's about whether or not this person can get out of their own way in order to accommodate this energy that's coming to them with the Two of Cups and the partnership. It's just a really beautiful energy. So I think I'm going to go ahead and stop this here, but we're going to go off into the extended. And one of the things that we're going to look at here is kind of we've got something that's changing right now between the two of you. We also have this energy that your person is moving towards, which is that of partnership, but they've also got some walls up and they're not quite feeling calm about things yet. So they're not necessarily ready to be able to move toward that partnership the way that they ordinarily would. So we'll take a look a little bit more at the dynamic there and just kind of understand what is happening with this energy that you're moving toward. And then while we're at it, I think maybe we also take a little bit more of a look at the dynamic between you and your person. So we got a little bit of a feel for, how they feel about you, how they feel about the relationship, but I feel like we could dig in a little bit deeper there. So if that's one of the questions that I'd like to ask when we go into the extended as well. So, if this one resonated for you, I would just ask you to like and share and subscribe. And for sure, there were some patterns that I saw in here that we have been seeing in the Soulmate series. So, you may want to check that out if you have the opportunity. Otherwise, and remember, that's a playlist that I have. On this YouTube channel. Otherwise, I will go ahead and see you over in the extended video, or I'll see you in another one in the future. And last but not least, here we are with pile 3. So pile 3 is the one that had the clear quartz heart. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. This is going to be, we're looking at what's happening with your person, just sort of checking in with them and just understanding what wants to come out for you. So we're going to look at the current energy that's happening between you first. So just one card to understand the current energy. And we've got the Page of Vessels that's coming out in reverse. And so, by the way, this is the Wildwood Tarot that I'm reading with, and then I'm going to clarify with the Darkwood Tarot. So you get a couple of Woods Tarots with this one. Anyway, the Page of the Vessels, it's water energy, and it's that page energy. So it's youthful. It's kind of a confident, happy, excited sort of feeling, able to express emotions, able to communicate emotions. But with it here in the reverse like that, there's more of a sense of not being able to communicate emotions as much. So that's kind of what's happening in the current energy between the two of you, where it's even if the two of you are sitting across a table from each other, there's kind of this difficulty to talk about your emotions or to have a good conversation together. But in a lot of cases, there's not even an opportunity to sit across the table. So we'll clarify this here in a moment. But before we do, let's go ahead and pull the rest of the cards. We're going to look first to see kind of what we're going to focus on your person directly. So if this is the current energies that are happening with the two of you together, this is going to be current energies that are relevant to really just kind of your person. This is what's happening in their life. It's very central to their life right now. That's the kind of energies that we're looking at. So just taking the top card, that's what I usually do, unless I am guided to take more than that. We have the Queen of Arrows. So that's air energy. And the Queen of Arrows is one who has the ability to remove things, to kind of cut things out as they need to be cut out. That's a strength of the Queen of Arrows. She's very logical. She's able to say no more, In the reverse here, she's not so much cutting things out. She's taking a little bit more of a look at things. She's being possibly a little bit more vulnerable, but certainly considering some things that she might otherwise not always be willing to consider. So that's kind of interesting. And that's the current energy that is happening with your person. So they are finding themselves maybe more open to some ideas and maybe even just more open in general. So that's actually a pretty promising energy. I guess the next thing that we're going to look at is how they feel about you. So we're going to look at this is a current feeling, but it may reflect a lot of what's happened in the past. So this is how they feel about you, just one card for that. And then, of course, we will clarify and see a little bit more deeply. So this is kind of that top bit of energy. And then when we clarify, we get in a little bit deeper. And then when we go to the extended, we get in even deeper than that. So the way they feel about you is this is the balance card. It's like the temperance card, but we have it in reverse. So the balance card is very much what it looks like. If this came out, it would say that you guys made each other feel very balanced. But here, it's thrown them off balance a little bit. So there was something about you that surprised them, or that they kind of weren't really ready for in the energy when they found it. Weren't looking for it is the sense that I get. It's almost like sometimes when I get the Empress upside down or in reverse, I get this sense that somebody wasn't ready for something when it came for them. And here, I'm almost getting that, almost exactly that same thing. So it's something threw them off balance about you. Not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's just about learning and having that opportunity to have somebody that's really able to teach you. But we'll learn more when we clarify. So let's see what's happening with how they feel about your relationship. That was quick. And speaking of the Empress, so the green woman is the equivalent of the Empress in this deck, and it is all of the Queen's good when it's in balance like this. It's all of the Queen's good sides put together. So that is how they felt about your relationship. That's really high praise. Just a fantastic thing. I guess I'd like to understand a little bit. Maybe it was a little too fantastic because I kind of get that sense a little bit when I mix it with the energy that's currently flowing between the two of you, where it's difficult to communicate, even if you're in the same place. There's something about this that has caused them to kind of clench up, and it may have something to do with having been thrown off balance here. But we also see in their current energy, there's a lot more of an openness. So I'm curious to understand what is driving that. But first, let's look at the hidden energies and understand kind of this is that piece that you wouldn't necessarily be able to see about the situation just by looking at it. You can't see it from your perspective, although it may not be actively hidden. It's not visible from where you're standing. And that's that Two of Vessels. So this is really about the partnership. And actually, it's about a partnership the two of you share, even if you're not in communication. So there's a very energetic partnership between the two of you that has this amazing sort of power couple vibe. I almost don't like to use that term, but if it's right, it's right. So there is that sense of that, and they feel it strongly. They may or may not understand that you feel it strongly. This throwing them off balance piece over here lets me know that some of their perceptions might be a little bit weird, as far as they may not align with what your perceptions are, because they may have some emotion that's going into that, changing things around. But there's definitely this sense of the connection on that energetic level, and a strong attraction, a magnetism between the two of you. So next we're going to look, before we go and start clarifying these, we're going to take a look to see the energy that you're moving toward, or that your person is moving toward, I guess, because we want to understand the energy to which they're going to be adding their free will. We can't predict a person's free will, but we can say, here's the way the wind is blowing. You know, here's the energy to which they're going to be putting in that free will, or adding that free will. And we have the Six of Stones. So in reverse, the stones are earth energy. So Six of Stones is that sense of give and take. It is a sense of, in this case, these folks they're not receiving their fair share. And in fact, the caption is exploitation. And so here in reverse, this is the opposite of exploitation. It is both them reacting to the feelings of maybe having been exploited, or feeling like they're not getting their fair share in a situation. It's also realizing, hold on, this is relevant. I've done this before. I've seen this before. I've been maybe on the other side of it here with this situation. When they met you, it threw them off balance, but it also caused them to react in a little bit of defensive sort of way. And one of the defenses that they put out there was this lack of communication. And it was really just kind of an attraction or a reaction to all this attraction and to this amazing energy that they saw here. So now it's kind of turning that back on them. They're experiencing it again, or they will be sort of experiencing it, but they're going to be on the other side of it. They'll have a very different perspective of it this time. So it'll be interesting to see what that means when we clarify. Like I said, we're going to clarify with the Dark Wood Tarot. And we'll start with this Page of Vessels in reverse over here. So just to get a couple of cards, we'll take the top one here. To clarify, the first one to come out is the Magician. So that is a manifestation sort of card. And we also have the Devil, but the Devil comes out in reverse. So this is interesting because this is the energy between the two of you. You have a control falling away, a sense of something that has been controlling one or both of you is starting to fall away. So we still have this sense of not having solid communication or frequent communication, or maybe just not effective communication. But there is also in this current energy a lot that is happening to potentially change that. So this Magician energy is manifestation that allows you to figure out what you want, wish for it, manifest it. Just be careful what you wish for because, again, you know, as the saying goes, you might just get it. Then here we have the Devil card in reverse, which is showing that kind of progression away from something that could be an addiction, an obsession. It could be a controlling person, a controlling family member. You never know in different people's situations what it could be, but it is always going to be something that is controlling. And we see that sort of going away here. So makes me wonder what's going to happen with this Page of Vessels that's in the reverse, because the other energies that are working around it here would really unravel the things that are keeping that communication so quiet. So ultimately, I would hope that we would see that come out. And maybe that's what we're seeing here. We've got the Queen of Arrows. So this is on your person's side. Queen of Arrows in reverse like this really shows that they are maybe being a little bit more open and accepting to something. And okay, we want the Wheel of Fortune here. And where's the other one? We want the Seven of Wands that has also come out there. So looking at all of these together, we have a little bit of openness happening on your person's part. But there's a lot of fear here. So the Seven of Wands in the upright is like a willingness to fight for it, feeling like you're on top. You have that high ground. There's a confidence there. But in reverse, it's not feeling very confident. So your person's not feeling very confident, but there's a lot of change going on. Just an outrageous amount of change that's happening in their world right now. And somehow their response is to open up, or at least to be open-minded about some of the things that are headed their direction. So again, I feel like this is a really promising energy. It's difficult to say how it's going to play out in relation to you, but definitely there is a lot changing for your person right now. A lot of letting things in, thinking about things in a new way, but not feeling super confident about it. This is not an arrogant person who is letting things happen. This is somebody who is genuinely not sure what they think about things, might even need a little bit more confidence as they're evaluating some things. But I get the sense they're not really showing that side. Even though we do have a little bit of vulnerability and openness that's coming with this, it's like, let's not get carried away. But there's definitely a change that's happening here. So this is rapidly changing energy on your person's part. Now, if we jump in here and we look at this Balance card, this is in the position of how your person feels about you. And one of the things that comes out when they think about that is really, this has really thrown them off balance. So we have the Knight of Wands that has come out in the reverse there. And the Knight of Wands in the reverse is that card of, sometimes you'll hear it referred to as the player, but really what it is this inconsistent energy. And so it's like you've got this desire to not speak within them, but you've also got this desire to manifest what they want. And so it ends up with them kind of looking like they're going back and forth. That's a little bit of what's happening here too, because I think they can tell. And when they're looking at it and saying, you know what, I am going to be open to some things, there is a lot of change going on here. Oh, but there's this fear. And that fear has a tendency to turn this Knight of Wands upside down. So in the upright, it is passionate, forward movement, excitement. It's coming at you. It's very exciting and very intense fire energy. In reverse, it is almost a hiding energy, but it almost has this tendency to go back and forth. Like they'll go in, they'll come in and they'll see you, and then they'll disappear for a while, and then they'll come back and woo you, and then they'll disappear again for a while. And it's partially because they feel off balance. But there's also this strength, the strength card that's come out here, and part of what you have done for them is to help them realize that this balance is not, there's no reason it needs to be like this. You have modeled a strength that has made them realize that they have more strength maybe than they understood themselves to have. So some of this is kind of happening under the surface. Like you may not realize that they're having this experience here where they're feeling a little bit more open about things, but it's all because of this experience they've had with you. And they borrowed a little bit of your strength, in fact, to try and establish a little bit of this balance. Because I think when they got thrown off balance, when the two of you came together and they realized how amazing you were, because that's clearly how they feel about the relationship over here, it throws them off balance and it makes them a little scared, like we see here. And so that's got the in and out sort of behavior or the running sort of behavior. Sometimes you just see them flat out ghost and disappear. But for a while there, they were utilizing some of your strength to stay in the game. And what we see here is that it has inspired some change in them. Something, this is their energy too, as well as yours. So something that has inspired some of this change. It's a control that has come out from under over them as well. So let's take a look here at the green woman, and this is about how they feel about their relationship. So that's like the Empress card in the traditional tarot. It's pretty impressive as far as how they feel. Let me grab those. I had a couple of cards fall, but they fell face down, so no need to worry about whether I need to bring them in or not. And here we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. And let's see what else comes out here. Here's more of that fear again. So the Ace of Cups in reverse is really about, it's about not allowing that flow of energy. So the energy is not being allowed to flow, and that's been their response to seeing this amazing thing. Like it was as if they were coming around the corner and they were getting a better view of you as they came along. The more they came around the corner and the more of you and your soul that they were able to see, the more daunting it became. The more they felt like they didn't have the confidence and the more they wanted to run. It threw them off balance. They even made this attempt to utilize some of your strength, but it was very difficult. Ultimately, they ended up doing something that was relatively rash, but did not necessarily buy them the success that they were hoping for. So they were maybe hoping, hey, if I cut this off and I run, maybe I can get this person to forget me. Maybe I can get myself to forget it. And it is not working. So instead, it was like cutting off your nose to spite your face. And they are not having a great experience as a result of it. So there's this sense of them kind of feeling like they've done something to win the battle, but at what cost? You know, it just doesn't seem like it's been a very good experience for them from that standpoint, but it all comes from them being so blown away by you. And we see that over and over, but we also see that there's been some adjustment, there's being some change, and your person is opening up as a result of this experience they've had with you. So now maybe let's take a look at this Two of Vessels. And so this is that attraction that we were talking about that is in the hidden energy. But maybe it's interesting because it's probably not actually so hidden from either of you. What I get the sense is it's not really hidden. It's really just not in the physical realm that it's thriving right now. So in the energetic realm, you may really be able to feel this person and be thinking, I wonder if they can feel this. The answer is they can. They may even be aware of what they're looking at. But there's something here that doesn't want to change, something that needs to change in order for this transformation between the two of you to take place and truly move into this place of, in the 3D, in the physical realm, having this partnership. Something would need to change that hasn't yet. And there is such an amazing desire, such an amazing passion to move together. This is this Ace of Wands shows us this incredible passion, and it's being kept under wraps, which is amazing. And I wonder how long that's going to last. So I know your person is feeling like they lack some confidence over here, but with these changes happening and this feeling of being more open-minded and actually themselves being more open, I'm wondering if something might start to come out, because right here we've got that quiet. We're not doing a lot of communication, not doing a lot of flirting. It's very closed up. And we even see why here. We can see that this person is very threatened. They're feeling threatened. They're feeling scared, and yet they feel like they've been thrown off balance, and they've got this nice modicum of trust for you here, where they've utilized some of your strength, and they appreciate what you've done there, but it kind of has not helped to tip the scales in their favor as far as they're concerned. So they're still feeling a little bit like they need to be locked up, and they need to have their emotions kind of stay locked up because they don't know how to handle this amazing energy that you bring. Their response has been to make a rash action that wasn't especially helpful. And now they're thinking, my gosh, what do I do to kind of help bring this about? And it's a difficult question to ask, but we also see, like I said, the control is sort of lifting away. The manifestation energy is coming in, so there's actually a lot of positivity here. And then when we look at the energy where they're moving, where it's more of that making things right, it's making that energetic exchange that is more of an even exchange. Let's take a look there at what we see for that. So we've got the King of Cups in reverse. Okay, so there's going to be that desire to remain emotionally stable, or at least to have the appearance of being emotionally stable. That's what we're going to see there. But we also see there's healing that takes place. This is like unbreaking somebody's heart. This Three of Swords that you have in reverse. In the upright, it's a pretty painful looking card. You've got three swords sticking through this heart, and it's pain, it's heartbreak, it's that heart-wrenching sort of aching pain that definitely I feel has been happening in the current energy up here. It's part of what's been keeping things quiet, but in the future energy, what you guys are moving toward, I see less of that. I see more of making things right, but I still see this sense of, it's like you fix things, but you don't fix everything all at the same time. And there's this sense of them still saying they're just dabbling in it. You see, he's kind of dabbling in the emotion, but he doesn't truly jump all the way in. And in the reverse, he's really not putting much out there as far as emotion, which is in direct conflict with this energy that's happening up here for your person. So it's like, do they shrink back in? Do they go back into their shell? Or is this just something that they have to work on as they're moving through it? And maybe that's something that we'll look at in the extended, to just try to understand a little bit more about what's happening with this energy. Because again, this is the energy into which your person and you, to a certain extent, will be putting your free will. So let's take a look at kind of what that is, because we see a lot of pain going away, making things right. But we also see, like I said, that sense of I need to appear emotionally together. I need to feel stable. But I don't get the sense that they necessarily can. And I still think it's very important that they do so, which is part of why you don't see all the communication over here. However, with this devil card in the reverse and some of that control falling away, I think you may see an increase or an improvement in that, as well as some of this manifestation coming up, because that manifestation energy makes people feel more confident, like they can do things. And with this change happening, you catch them on a good day and they may respond to the green woman, the empress, a little bit differently. Instead of making this rash action and turning off their ability to let emotion flow, we may actually see something like making a change here and allowing this passion to flow that we know is already ignited on a spiritual plane anyway. But they have such a hard time with it in the 3D that it knocks them off balance to experience this, and it causes them to behave in a way that's got that kind of in and out breadcrumbing sort of behavior. So let's go ahead and take off into the extended. If this one resonated for you, I would say please like and share and subscribe. We've definitely seen, and I noticed this in the other readings as well, there are a lot of patterns here that have shown up in the Soulmate series. So if if you'd like to see some other messages, maybe check out the Soulmate series if this one resonated with you, because there may be some other messages in there for you. Otherwise, I will see you over in the extended. You should be able to just scroll down and get the link down there information below the video and it'll bring you to my Vimeo page and you can go from there. So I'll see you over in the extended, or I will see you at another reading.